live. Sounds like a robot. Well, that might be internet here then. Should have went to the studio. We've had okay. I'm live on YouTube now. Says I'm live on YouTube. Hopefully the internet thing. It doesn't show that I'm buffering here, so that is a good sign. I apologize. Give me just a few more minutes here just to make sure. Evening, Chris. Cody Knox. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure my comments are working. No. Oh, VMix Social. I thought I had all the. Let's see here. Overlay 3. Overlay 3 comments. How about now? Not yet. You have an echo. Okay. Audio. I apologize, folks. Audio settings. All right, I'm about to click this button. Did the echo go away? Did the echo go away? The audio is the most important thing. So, did the echo go away? Send. Okay, we got the comments working. Now, did my echo go away, Cody Knox? It did not go away. Well, what am I doing different? Let me close the audio out and start it. If not, let me do this here real quick. Daggone it. Sorry, folks. Can't hear me now. Oh, you can still hear me? Oh, wait a minute. Now, did the echo go away? I don't know. Okay, so it is much better. Thank you, Cody Knox. This is why I should have probably gone at the studio and knocked this out, but I have not had dinner yet, and the wife made dinner, so I was really hoping to be closer to the dinner table here. So, and if I take this off, that should go down, and news page, there we go. Jason Canning. I've never been compared to T-Pain before or any type of music artist, so that is good to know. I'm going to try to get my desktop capture on here real quick, and then we'll be set to go. Not a whole lot, some big elections, obviously, in Logan County, but I think we can knock them out here pretty quick, so we won't bother everyone for too long tonight. It would be better if I had this graphic, and at the studio, it's already ready to go and popping, display 2. There we go. All right. So we are going to go over the elections. City of Guthrie had an election. Coyle Public Schools had a school bond election, and Crescent had a school board election. So those were the 3 big ones. I believe Deer Creek had one here in Logan County. Deer Creek had a school board, and Luther had a school board, and Wellston had a school board. But there were no voters in Logan County that made it to the polls for Wellston. And there were 51 voters in Logan County that voted in the Luther School District. If anybody wants those information, I can pass those on, but I don't think that's so. 69 people in Logan County voted for the Deer Creek Public School school board election there. And but the big one was the Crescent School Board. Coyle Public Schools had a school bond issue for $1.4 million. And the City of Guthrie had a CIP Capital Improvements Project sales tax extension. So we will talk about those. We'll go through the numbers and what all that looks like. But if you guys have any questions, that's what this is all about here. So it'll be best to do that. And again, apologize. I'm usually here right at 7 o'clock, but I had prior commitments. So just now getting to these deals. And this is the second election that I haven't been able to do live as the numbers come in, and it has driven me crazy because it's a fun thing to do because we get a lot of interaction on here. But we will have the next election in August. So maybe we'll talk about it here in a second. Okay, so we will start. If I have any Crescent folks, let me know because I want to make sure I have my incumbent in here correctly. And I will push this desktop right here. So the Crescent School Board had an election between Emily Williams and Josh James. And Crescent folks, help me out, but I do believe Emily Williams was the incumbent for this race. And there were 4 precincts for the Crescent School Board. And I can show you those numbers here. As you can see, Emily Williams, I believe Emily Williams is the incumbent, and she loses the race tonight to Josh James. 575 votes, and Josh James collects 315 compared to Emily Williams 260. So 55 vote difference. That's a close race for 55 votes among 575 people. But Josh James gets just a little over 54% of the votes to claim that seat. So congratulations to Josh James. Again, I think Emily Williams was the incumbent on that one. So help me out there if that is not correct. But I think that is what I was told there. So, okay, Coyle Public Schools, they had a $1.4 million bond election. Remember, in October, they had a very large school bond that failed. It wasn't really that close. And so if you have a failed election, you have to wait 6 months to have another one. And 7 months later, Coyle, with a very much smaller version of what they tried to pass in October, does pass tonight. We'll show you the numbers with that. And the numbers show that 169 people voted yes for the $1.4 million school bond election for Coyle Public Schools, and 61 voters voted against. Remember, in school board election or in school board bond elections like this one here for Coyle, you have to have 60% or super majority of the vote. Crescent does that easily tonight with 73.48%. So, Coyle gets that with 73.48%. So needed 60%, got almost 74%. So that will give them some roof work, some HVAC work, and a big part of that is the renovation of the cafeteria over at Coyle Public Schools. So congratulations for Coyle. I think their superintendent's in year number 1, so he's 1 for 2 in school bond elections. So, and that'll keep Coyle's numbers, their tax levies pretty close. So if they want to move forward, if this one had failed, it would have dropped a little bit. And as we know, it's a little bit harder to pass school bond when you have to increase taxes. But this one here tonight for Coyle does not increase any taxes, and they're able to keep their mills close to what it is. And if they would have dropped, it would have been a little bit harder for their next election. All right. Comments here. JC, I was number 6, my precinct for Deer Creek election. It was 5:30. Ugh. And just think, JC, those poll workers were there before 7 a.m. and they stayed there for obviously right about 7 o'clock. So the poll workers had to work a long day for not very many people to turn out there. So I always thank them so much. These elections are so tough because they're so generalized. Like Crescent had a small pocket, Coyle had a small pocket, Guthrie had a small pocket, obviously Deer Creek, Luther, Wellston, all of them. And we'll talk about the city of Guthrie here in just a few moments, but there was one precinct that had one registered voter that lived in Guthrie city limits, and I think the election board tries very, very hard to contact those voters, if there's 1, 2, or 3, to maybe ask them if they wouldn't mind coming in and voting early, or showing up early, because if you have one registered voter, you have to open up the polls for that voter to go in there. So that could be a long day for those folks. So appreciate them. Darcy, she wants to get to the point. Results, just given. We're working on that right now. Williams is the incumbent. Okay, Brandy, thank you for that. I misheard or misled. So Williams, the incumbent for Crescent, he continues on as the school board there. So JC, that is a terrible day. Yeah, it's a long day for those workers. And the state legislature last year passed legislation to increase their pay. So that is good. And that started earlier this year, I think. This was their second election with their pay increase. So appreciate all those ladies doing that. Okay. No, Emily Williams. Okay. So Emily Williams, I had the name backwards. Emily Williams was the incumbent. Thank you. So I had it right the entire way. Emily Williams was the incumbent. She loses tonight in the Crescent Bond election. Okay. And the biggest turnout tonight in Logan County, obviously, was the city of Guthrie for the CIP sales tax extension. So if you remember, in 2016, city of Guthrie held an election just like they did today. Voters approved a 3/4 sales tax increase to the sales tax. So it was 3% for the longest time. It's now, with the successful election in 2016, it went to 3.75. That 0.75 goes to capital improvements. If you remember, some of those projects include a new fire ladder truck, Tahoe, police Tahoes, and some other big Banner Park was part of that. The splash pad at Mineral Wells was a part of that. There's a bunch of different CIP projects. And so with that election in 2016, it passed, 3/4 was there. It had a sunset. It was to expire in 2031. Well, the discussion started back in November on some projects. And when we talk about 2031, a lot of that money, a good part of that money has been spent. There's still some allocated funds left in the 2031, but there, as people in Guthrie know, there are a lot of infrastructure needs, water and sewer lines, and there's a oversight committee. We'll talk about them here in a little bit as well. But there's an oversight committee that has gotten together. The city manager, Eddie Faulkner, in his first year, took the oversight committee to all the different locations, the fire station, the water treatment plant, Owens Field, and showed them all the things that the city of Guthrie needed. The oversight committee put a list together of importance, and the number one important thing for that was the infrastructure of water lines and sewer lines. We've heard, the lakes do turn over in all cities, and it causes issue, but there are miles upon miles, I think over 50 miles of water lines that were put in before 1975 that need to be replaced. And the city needs probably $80 million to catch up on water and sewer lines and some other stuff. But after the oversight committee put their list together, there was a survey sent out to residents in the city of Guthrie, and there were some outside that responded as well, to put what the citizens also have wanted to see. And water and sewer lines were number one. A fire station, a EMS fire station, was up there as well. That project is hoped, they're working on numbers and all that good stuff officially now, but they want to put a second fire station in the southern part of the city limits. Owens Field, there was other projects on there as well. What the election here tonight did was, instead of that CIP sales tax ending in 2031, asking for a 15-year extension to get to 2046 a year. And about 1 year of 3/4 of a cent sales tax is about $1 million. And so, don't know the official numbers on a fire station, 3-4 million there. Possibility you can spend as much as you could ever want on water lines and sewer lines. And that also includes some maintenance on the water towers as well. There's some bunch of other stuff that goes in with that, but that was the number one deal. And if you want to take a look at it, hopefully you've seen the article on Guthrie News page. But there was also a flyer that was a flyer that came in the mail to every resident, whether they were registered or not voters. Everyone in the city limits got a pamphlet to kind of describe these projects. But you can also go to growingguthrie.com, as I have here on the sheet. And it kind of goes into all the details if you want to take a closer look at what I'm talking about here. But you see, number one, the water line, sewer line. Number two, the fire station on the southern part of the city limits. ADA accessibility within Guthrie, sidewalk, crosswalk improvements. The swimming pool. The swimming pool is really what got this conversation going. And we know all about that. If you're watching this, I guarantee you know all about the pool that's been closed down because it's over 80 years old. It leaks 40+ thousand gallons per day. The lakes are low. And so it was closed last year, and the pool will be closed again this year. And they're working on an agreement with Edmond like they did last summer, but working on a smaller version of the pool. Or working on those numbers, what that looks like. Is it $1 million project, $1 million pool with future expansion to it? It all kind of depends on how the numbers and how much a fire station comes in, how much a pool comes in. There's a lot of factors into that. And the other thing that was a big part was the expansion of Owen Field Sports Complex. They had talked about phase one. They had the groundbreaking for phase one, and now looking at possibly moving phase two. So the numbers come in. We'll take a look at those numbers here because I know Darcy wants to look at them right this moment. And there you go, Darcy. 546 voters turned out today. And a lot of people were asking me how many people are going to turn out. And I promise you, I'm telling you the truth. I said I would expect 500, no more than 600. And we had 546 turnout today. Well, not just today. On election day, there was 468, but there was about 78 other folks who put it in the mail or went to the Logan County Election Board. But it passes overwhelmingly. 79, almost 80% of the vote yes to extend the CIP sales tax all the way to the year 2046. And I speaking as a Guthrie resident and someone who has watched this close, it's maybe an additional $15 million. We really need $100 million. I remember Dr. Simpson, when he came to Guthrie with the school district, he goes, we need $100 million to just start what we want to do. Same thing with the city. They need about $100 million to begin what they want to do. So, but it's $15 million over the next a long time. So when you count the few years that are left for CIP 1. So we're going to call the election that was won in 2016 CIP 1. And now with this new one extended to 24/6, we'll call that CIP 2. It might make it easier for when we're talking formally or informally down the road. But so another $15 million from 2046. So, I mean, you can put $15 million in water line and sewer lines and still need 30 more million just for that. And that doesn't build a fire station, doesn't do anything for the pool, doesn't do anything. So there are some big decisions in how to do that money in the next months and years. So really wish there was a magic spell. You can just say everything on that list is going to happen tomorrow, but you have to be realistic about that. And there have been great strides with the schools, Charter Oak, Cotterell, and now we see a lot of great things happening with the city of Guthrie. And water lines and sewer lines, no one sees them until something goes bad. They're under the ground, they're out of sight, and you hate to spend $1 million on something, but you need water and you need sewer. And when you have almost 1,000 homes being built in Guthrie, that is part of it. And so as you can see, there were 436 yes votes and 110 no votes on the day. I saw a few posts that came out against it. They led the projects, but didn't like the timing of it all. So, but hopefully everyone got the idea behind this proposition. So the other good thing about here, we'll get a few comments here real quick. GF Guthrie, glad we got it passed. Looking forward to seeing the improvements across town, no doubt. Thank you, Cody, for putting that link in the YouTube comments. Daniel says, water tower on the west side is all janky looking. Yeah, we all want the pull back in service. So when I learned about we need, paint the water towers, my mind immediately went to cosmetics, making it look good. And I was like, well, that's a waste of money. But it's also painting inside and doing some stuff on the inside as well. There's some things that DEQ will not let Guthrie Public Works do right now because it's outdated. So water towers inside and outside. So when you see a paint job, whenever that happens, it's not for it is for cosmetic, but it's also for usage works. So I did not know that. That's something I learned. I asked questions about it. I was like, we don't need to spend $500,000, whatever it is, $500,000 on making the water tower look good. We can use that somewhere else, but it is definitely for usage in there. So that is important. So if you have any questions, we got a few moments here to discuss that. So, but it does passes 546. So 546 votes total there with almost 80%. I do want to mention this, and the city council a couple months ago has established an oversight committee, and I think this is one of the great things that the city council and city manager Eddie Faulkner have come up with, and I say that as a resident here, and I'm not going to get too much into what I think and personally all that stuff because this is a news page. So, but I will have more of my personal thoughts tomorrow night on Second Banana Media. We have our open mic podcast, and we can kind of get more into this, but I want to kind of keep it news here on Guthrie News page. But I think one of the great things that the city council approved, and it's kind of the idea of Eddie Faulkner, was to have an oversight committee. And city councilmen come and go. There's elections. Some don't seek re-election. They come and go. And city managers, they come and go as well. We hope Eddie's here for 5 to 10 years. Leroy Alsop was before him. He was here for almost 7 years, a little over 7 years. Before that, there was a bunch of that. So when city council members come on board and when city managers come on board, they bring different ideas. What one city council would love to do, the next city council might not love to do that. Industrial park is one of those discussions. Not for tonight, but new city managers come in, they have different ideas, and it all different. But now there's an oversight committee that will run with a city council member. So, for example, Brian Bothroyd is a city council member, and he appointed one person to be his oversight committee member, and then Adam Robb, the mayor, Steve Gintling, Jeff Taylor, and Tracy Williams, all down the line. Granted Gary, all down the line. They each have an oversight committee. So therefore, you will have a citizen group that hopefully will stay in place a good part of it and keep the ideas and the fire station. If it comes in, if we're thinking $5 million, but it comes in $8 million, well, that oversight committee will discuss that. Do we want to go on with the fire? So I think the fire station will happen, but those are discussions that the oversight committee will have and recommend to the city council. Now the city council can say, no, we don't want your idea. We appreciate it. You have some good ideas, but we're going to go this route. That does happen. But I can tell you with the oversight committee, everything has been going forward to council. They've approved. And the school district has a similar thing as well. They have a task force that recommends to the school board. School board hears from citizens in the committee because that's a big part of it. And I mean, it's the citizens, the voters who ultimately decide on projects, on bond elections, on extensions. It is the voters who decide, not the election, not the board members or the council members. They put it out to the vote of the people. So I think that is a great thing that the city has done, is to have an oversight committee, to have a check and balances to this is what you said, this is what we want to do. So I think it is a great thing to have. Thoughts on CIP3? Yeah, I think that's a little bit down the road. So I think there's a lot of things that have to happen with CIP2, GF Guthrie, but maybe my children and grandkids might have to deal with that. That means I'm getting old, but CIP2 does pass this evening. Again, if you want to go to growingguthrie.com, they'll have more information for that. And if there's any other questions, let me know. If not, I can get on out of here and get a bite to eat. We'll have a whole lot more on this on Second Banana Media, YouTube, and Facebook tomorrow. So if you haven't subscribed to Second Banana Media, be sure to do that on YouTube and Facebook. We'll have a lot more questions, I'm sure, on there. Kind of get into the weeds, details, all that stuff. So I just want to come on here with the election numbers. I'll show them to you one more time. And if there's any questions, get them in right now, and then we'll sign off here for the night. State of Guthrie passes their CIP sales tax extension. It will go from the year 2031 to 2046. 546 voters turn out. Almost 80% of the folks said yes. Coyle Public Schools passes a $1.4 million school bond. It will help with roofs, HVAC, and a big renovation on their kitchen. This comes after one very much larger one in October failed. They come back 7 months later and get it passed with 73.48% of the vote. Remember, that vote needed at least 60% to pass. They easily do that tonight. So congratulations to the folks in the Coyle School District, our friends to the east in Logan County. Crescent Public Schools, they had a school board election. Emily Williams was the incumbent, and she falls by 55 votes to Josh James. Josh James, a little over 54% of the vote. Deer Creek had one election. These are just Logan County numbers, obviously. 69 people showed up total for that. 60 today on election day. Luther had 51 total votes in Logan County, and 0 votes for the Wellston Public School here in Logan County. And those are the numbers there. If let's see here, we can get. I will work with that tomorrow on Guthrie News page. I'll work on an article and kind of get into the details of how each precinct voted the way they did. All right. Leroy Alsop, former city manager, says congratulations. And Leroy, a big part of CIP 1 and the beginning stages of CIP 2. Leroy did a fantastic job of getting the city back on their feet in the position that we are. And it has been good for Guthrie, Dr. Simpson, the school district, Leroy getting the city in fine shape, and has done a great job for that. Thank you, Leroy. Thanks for showing the vote. Yes, Darcy, I hope I got to it fast enough for you. Just giving you a hard time there, but congratulations. It is a good night, good day for Guthrie, and I was talking to city manager Eddie Faulkner and said, well, this was the election was the easy part. Now the hard part begins. All the work begins. And there's going to be some, back and forth discussions on what to do and how to do it and how to spend it and where to spend it. And so there are some tough decisions ahead, but the voters put it out there for city officials to work on that. And so with them in the oversight committee, I think it is a good night for Guthrie. And a lot of people put this together. The oversight committee, marketing people. It was a team effort for sure to get the information out there, and the voters have said yes. So that will do it here. I will work on an article tomorrow, but I got to go and eat. But appreciate all the great feedback, all the great comments, and all that. And don't forget, we will be on tomorrow on Second Banana Media to talk a little bit more about this and all the other crazy things that we talk about on Second Banana Media. So I'm looking for my outro thing here. I can't find it, so it just might not be a pretty thing to look at. Oh, there it is. Okay, that'll do it. Thank you guys for coming on here and talking just for a little bit. And I wish everyone a great night and a great week.